mean, I think one thing about this film is about, you know, kind of the way we made it was really interesting. We're just sitting in a coffee shop, and Nelson's book had just come out, and he had sort of told me he had had this idea to make this film about this era. And me, kind of not coming from that world, just found it really fascinating. Like, I just thought, how cool would it have been to live in that time? And I thought, in approaching the film, I just wanted people to feel what it would be like to hang out with these incredible people. So we shot it in a very kind of familiar way on park benches, stolen shots. We literally shot it, the two of us, most of the time. It's a very handmade movie. I think some critics said that about it, and I think it's true. We really just made it out of love. And we didn't even try to raise any money. We didn't even show it to anyone until we had shot most of the interviews. We just kind of made it when people could do a shoot. If Spike said, hey, you know, I have time now, we just dropped everything and went and did the interview with him. It's an interesting way to make a movie.
Diane was also the D5 Canon D5.
Yeah, 5D, the Canon 5D. You know, technology has changed a lot that you can make a movie. Even 5 years ago, you couldn't make a movie that looks like this and have it, you know, just from some little camera. And also because we could be very stealth. You know, we didn't really have permits for a lot of the shoot. And and then around, after about a year and a half of shooting, you know, as many filmmakers, happens with many filmmakers, we'd kind of hit a wall and we're just kind of like, is this a movie? You know, what are we doing with this? Is this going to ever be something? Yeah. And so we decided we needed a bit more money, and so we did a Kickstarter campaign. I don't know how many of you are familiar with Kickstarter, but it's what they call crowdsourcing, and people just, you write a proposal, you put a little trailer online, and people give you money to support your project.
People were incredibly generous.
Really generous. Yeah. Hundreds of people giving, you know, a little bit of love, and that adds up to a lot. And that's what we were able to shoot the helicopter scenes with.
Right. One of the things interesting, when we interviewed almost everyone, their first time coming to the neighborhood, everyone almost had the same story with Lisa Jones or Branford. They remember getting off the subway at either Lafayette or DeKalb, walking up either Lafayette, Fulton, and having this moment of, wow, I feel really comfortable here. That was almost a universal. There's one thing that everyone said. There was this sense of energy, or as you said, or something that happened. There's something magical about this area, and I don't have. We've talked to a lot of people. I don't know what it is, but it's there and it's very palpable. It's interesting that you. It was interesting is that you still feel it, because you know the question is it still there? There's still a lot of artists who live in Fort Greene, but they're not all black. It's a much more diverse. I mean, everyone from the one who wrote the Namesake. Jhumpa Lahiri. Right. There's so many. There's a lot of Jennifer Egan who just won the National Book. There's still a lot of artists. It's just a different community of people. It's a different wave. I just wanted to make sure that we documented that, because so much stuff happens that's not documented. One of the things I became an historian and a writer about black culture was because I wanted to write the books that I wanted to read. And this is a film I would have liked to have seen, even if I hadn't made it. You know, about a particular era. And I think one of the things that's interesting and exciting to me is that this idea that these communities, there's always something going on. It may not be immediately visible, but there are all these different communities. It takes every now and then a Spike Lee breaks out and suddenly it shines a light on a particular piece of real estate. But I'm very optimistic that there are other things going on. When I see Bed-Stuy, a lot of stuff is going on in Bed-Stuy, and I think that probably someone's going to pop up and everyone's going to go, oh boy, Bed-Stuy is the new whatever. You know, whatever that place is, what the East Village was at one point. There's a lot of great creative energy. I just feel like people are not, maybe the internet in a way is getting in the way of in a way we have the internet as this tool, but I don't feel that people are interacting the same way that they did then. Maybe I'm old, but that's my observation at least.
Yeah, we get a lot of comments after screenings about where's my community and how come I don't have that, and there's a lot of sort of people wanting that for themselves.
Absolutely.
And I feel that I don't have that either, and so, something about making that film did make me long to have that. I think it's in some ways like a black Midnight in Paris. People, you know, I kind of look at that time and wish I was there, you know.
And the other thing is that I'm hopeful that there'll be other works about, because I think that period is really rich. And like I said, we relatively speaking, we interviewed a handful of people in terms of, you know, of the community of people there. Roger Guinevere Smith, you know, we never got Winton. Terrence Blanchard, Donald Harrison were all there. Steve Coleman, who ran a whole thing called M-Base, which is another jazz collective that was there. There were so many communities within communities of artists that I'm hopeful that there will actually be more works about that particular period. Danny Simmons had his art gallery that, that was such an important sign. So there was a lot going on there simultaneously. And that's kind of why the parties were so important, because in many ways these different subgroups all collected. When you went to someone's house party, that's where you would see who else in the neighborhood.